to my channel. If this is your first time seeing me, thanks for being here. I hope everyone has had a safe and happy start to 2023. I don't know about you, but I'm trying to plan out some things to look forward to throughout the year. There's one thing in the next little bit of time that I've been really looking forward to. It's what I look forward to every year, and I'm always at some sort of party. It's Mardi Gras, but this year, Sydney, the city I live in, is hosting World Pride 2023. So last year's skirt that I made and the boots to match aren't gonna cut it this year. They're not gonna cut it for World Pride. I have this sequin material that I have had delivered, and I've got belting to go with it, sort of a belt clip fastener for the crop top and the skirt that I'm planning on making. If you want to see how I go about making a cute mini skirt and crop top with a belt clip closure, then stick around. Okay, so to create my pattern, I'm using a wrap mini skirt that I already have. So it's made up of 4 pieces. I've got the first piece, which is sort of curved on the front, the second 2 pieces that form one big back piece, and then the the 4th piece on the side that has a little buttonhole there that when you fold the skirt over, you put the button through there and then tie it at the side. So where the tires will be where my buckle is, and I think to replace this button piece, I'll do just a clip fastener there. So now I'm going to trace each of these pieces onto my butcher's paper and then cut them out. Now I'm tracing around each piece of my wrap mini skirt. I did actually just iron this skirt as well to make sure I'm getting my pattern pieces as close to this wrap mini skirt as possible. And now I am cutting out my pattern pieces. Now I've got all my pattern pieces cut out. Now I'm tracing my cut out pattern pieces onto my sequin material. And now I'm just cutting out my pieces of fabric. I've had to retrace, and I'm gonna have to recut my first piece because I didn't pay enough attention to the direction of the squared sequins and where it actually needs to be straight on the skirt. I sort of aligned it to that and made that straight, which will just mean the whole front will be super wonky. I also was doing it facing the wrong way. So redoing this first piece, and then I should have all my pieces drawn up and cut out. And now I have my pieces of fabric all cut out. Now I'm pinning my 2 back pieces together. So I'm just pinning 1 centimeter in, and I'm very carefully going to sew my 2 back pieces together. I'm just adding a 2nd stitch because I don't have an overlocker. Now I'm pinning piece 1 to the 2 back pieces I just sewed together, and then I will sew them up as well. Now I'm stitching them together. And now I'm pinning up and sewing the rest of the skirt to piece 4. So before I do my band, I just want to temporarily stick down the side. So I don't want to hem up the bottom of the skirt yet. So the side piece that wraps around leads to the hem at the bottom because I don't know if I'll need to make any changes to the length. So I'm just sticking this down for now so that I can fold this over and do the band of the skirt. So I'm just putting a tiny bit of glue, and also that will make it easier if I need to make any changes. But yeah, I don't want to go around and stitch the whole thing up because that will predetermine the length of my hem. All right, so on my floral mini skirt, there is a clear button that goes into a loophole that sort of, when it wraps around, it holds one of the pieces up because otherwise the tie at the end wouldn't hold it all and you would just have like a piece slipping down at the front the whole time. I just put the skirt on, so This is where one of the gripper studs, so one half of it will go here. The other half will be on a section where there's no belting, so it doesn't matter, it will be hidden anyway. But for the section that won't be hidden, I'm going to fold this over and then I'll stitch the belt piece onto the other side so that it will be completely invisible and it will just clip on the inside. Is that working? Sort of. Should not just do this. Like this. It's a good way to mark up your desk. I'm just going to sew up the part of the skirt that won't have the band/belt on it so that that will be sewn shut. I'll sew a little bit extra as well. Then I'm also going to sew up to the end where the band will go, just because I think I'll have to end it a little bit before the actual end to make sure that I can clasp it, and if it needs to be tighter, it can be pulled tighter. Whereas if it's at the end, there's sort of nowhere to go. All right, so next I need to do my belt. I can see from the instructions that one side needs to be stuck down. So I'm gonna stick this down to hold it with some of my super strong glue, and then I'm gonna sew it. All right, so I've pinned where I want the belt to go. I'm gonna change my tactics slightly. I don't wanna stitch it so that they're at the same level because I don't want to be able to see the sequins from the top. I feel like it won't look that nice. So I'm doing it a little bit down, so maybe 1/2 centimeter. What I'm gonna do now is just mark up where I've pinned the belt, stitch round as I've already done, so make sure it's all completely stitched down. That top section, and then I will stitch the belt on. All right, I've decided that stitching the belt is gonna make it ugly because I have this sort of dark brown thread, which you can really easily see. It looks kind of cool there, but I don't think it would look good the whole way around, especially if I don't manage to stitch it very well. So, because it's a costume anyway, and sort of fancy-ish dress, I'm gonna go back in with my favorite glue, my go-to glue that I rely on way too much, and I'm going to stick this belt down so that it looks decent and that you can't actually tell. Yeah, you won't be able to tell it's glue, but that's not the point. Obviously things should be done properly, but here we are. All right, so my belt is dry and stuck on. Now I just put this skirt on and I know where I need to have my opposite gripper studs. All right, so I've got it all the way through. I've popped the opposite gripper stud on top. And I just need to hammer it on. Okay, so I just threaded my buckle piece through and stitched it up. Not the best stitch I've ever done. Now I just need to sew up the hem, which I'm still just gonna keep it to 1 centimeter because I tried the skirt on and it is already pretty short. And then that will be the skirt done. Now I'm just stitching the end of the belt piece, which will be covered by the sort of tightening section, so it should be fine to have sort of a brown strip there. And now I'm just sewing around the side and the hem of my skirt to finish it off. Okay, so for my next unconventional pattern, I have a pattern from a blue dress that I didn't finish that I'm just going to use the top half of the pattern, so sort of just until under my bust. This is what it looks like. So it's this blue dress that I didn't finish. Okay, so to start with, I'm just gonna trace up my sleeve, making it shorter by about 10 centimeters. Now I'm cutting out my sleeve so that I can flip it over and draw up the left sleeve. And now I'm tracing up and cutting out the front pieces, only going to about halfway down. So going to there, and then I can always make it shorter if I want, but I cannot make it longer. All right, so I have all my pattern pieces cut out, and now I'm just tracing them onto my material, and then I'll cut them out as well. All right, and now all of my pieces of fabric are cut out. So now I'm going to pin up and sew all of my side seams together. So I'm doing a 1 centimeter seam allowance completely around the top, and then I'll head to the shoulders and the sleeves. So now I'm sewing up my side seams. Now I'm sewing up the shoulders. So I've just pinned my sleeves, and now I'm sewing them up before I sew them on. Okay, so I just pinned up the 1 centimeter seam allowance around the collar to match the line of sequins, pinned it down as well. I tried it on and I'm happy with that. I still need to change the length a little bit, but I will secure this in place and then work on the length and the belting. Okay, so I just tried on the top again and have pinned up where I want it to finish at the bottom, because I do want it to be a crop top and it was definitely too long. So similar to with around the neckline and coming down, I'm going to secure the hem and then figure out how I would like to attach the belt and then fastener. Okay, so now I'm going to add a couple of gripper studs to the bottom of my crop top just to make sure it stays in place. And finally, I'm just attaching my piece of belting and my belt fastener to my crop top. Risky business, painting on this. And finally, to finish off my crop top and whole outfit, I just need to stitch up the belting. Mardi Gras ready.